Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Pitstop. I am joined by Mark Jones and Charles Bosch. This week we're going to speak about, or should I say we're going to discuss holistically the Nissan Navara, because it's not as, I can't call it new. We can talk about new updates and then the eventual new one. So let's try and make this as painless and as chronological as we can. So, the new Navara, Charles, is coming when? The all-new Navara?
Next year, 2025.
Okay. Are we getting it then, or maybe the year after?
Probably the year after. It's going to be launched in Australia because that's a key market next year.
Okay.
And it will probably, speculatively, probably going to arrive either at the end of 2025 or maybe 2026 once the plant
Okay, and that is set. They've already recently announced that in Egypt with a whole 60-year celebration of Nissan and everything.
61 years.
661.
No, they announced the new one. They announced in Abu Dhabi on the sidelines of the Nissan Patrol.
Yeah, but I mean,
launch.
they had an event in Egypt.
Yeah, they had an event in Egypt to celebrate Egyptian production.
And the new one is going to be built or based on the new Mitsubishi Triton because of the allegiance.
Correct.
Okay, so now before we get there, Mark, last week you went to a local little get-together, Nissan Navara, but it wasn't about the new one, it was about new models, but they didn't have the new models there for you. They only had the ones that we have been around the block for the last 4 or so years. So tell us about those new models they're introducing to the range.
Am I allowed to do a Donald Trump and sorry, plead the fifth, don't shoot me kind of vibe?
As long as we don't eat the cats, we're fine.
And don't hit my ear. It's a tough one. It's bizarre. I mean, I said it, sadly, in print. Nissan Navara, it's a great bakkie. It really is. Nissan's been around in South Africa 61 years. They said 60, but then realized it's 61. 90 years as a company. There isn't anybody that's grown up as a youngster that didn't know of a Nissan 1400 Champ and Nissan bakkies and Nissan cars, triple S's and their heritage. Nissan is a very, very strong company. A lot of heritage in South Africa. Navara is a good bakkie, but it's one of the best kept secrets. I mean, there's just not a lot of interaction. We drive one every now and again, so that's a bit of a problem. And of course now, why I think is a bit of awakening, and it's a bit muddled, is that the Chinese are coming in hard.
Yeah.
And they're bringing bakkies every day, and they're bringing these weird prices and lots of features, and Nissan's not selling as many as they should. I mean, let's be honest, they should sell well more than they do.
Yeah.
And if they get hurt by these Chinese guys, they're going to feel it a whole lot more. So, yes, we were taken for a little look at, there's going to be an entry-level double cab. It says more aimed at the businessman kind of vibe. It's going to have leaf spring suspension, manual gearbox, and the detuned 2.5. But that's all we were told. I can't tell you what specs inside. I can't tell you anything else. But I was told it was pretty well spec'd. Pricing, no clue. But it's going to come in at the bottom of the double cab range. And then there's going to be a mid-spec, which is aimed at the family man, also with the detuned engine, automatic transmission. Again, not too much information. And then we were then offered a drive in the current Pro X.
Pro 4X.
Pro 4X. So,
which we've done a few times.
yeah. So a bit of a mishmash, but look, they're going to bring some models.
Yes.
This year and by January, I believe. And they're going to bring it up to 14 models now. Have a go at it. It's about time.
So that entry-level one is very important because the workhorse.
Yeah.
Because now we're talking about the Chinese bakkies, if you look at Photon Tunland, who's bringing in already brought in a very, very affordable double cab for just under 400,000 with a lot of kit.
Yeah.
With a lot of kit. And if you look at Nissan's heritage, where the NP300, the old hard body, which changed its name to NP300, that was discontinued, that thing still sold a few hundred every month.
Yes.
Mainly because of the attractive pricing. So, if they can do this, and I mean, that's one of the reasons Isuzu, when they went onto the new D-Max, they kept the old D-Max, calling it the Gen 6.
Yeah.
There are no luxury offerings there. It's purely workhorses.
Yeah.
Because of the money factor.
That's true. what they also think, I've read somewhere as well that they're basically trying to flog this as a bit of an indirect replacement for the NP200 to try and salvage what's now lost with the NP200 not being made anymore. And we know that there's going to be probably an NP200 replacement, or is going to be one, but not immediately for us. We mentioned it last time. It might be built here, it might not be. So that's the other thing that they're trying to do. I mean, we drove a single cab Navara a couple of years ago. That was a mid-spec 4x4, and it was good. It was very, very good. But I don't think that's sort of taken off, and I'm speaking under correction, but I don't think that single cab has probably taken off in the way that they were expecting it to be. So go rather with a double cab. Yeah, you're going to lose some of the work, of some of the payload and some of the space in the back, but that's the thing that people are gravitating now towards, even as a workhorse. When we've seen it with Ford Ranger XL, base model Toyota Hiluxes and D-Max, people still want that extra space in the back and not necessarily want an extended cab version or a cabin off because you can't fit people in the back.
Well, I think it's the extended cab stuff, and it's a bit of a VAT.
Yes.
People, you can write the VAT off, you can. Yep. But when you sell it one day, you got to give the VAT back that you get your money on. And guys want a double cab. Yep. Let's be honest, that's South Africa. We want a double cab. If a guy can own a double cab for 399 grand, he's buying a double cab if that's his money, before he buys a 399 grand little hatch.
Yes.
The guy digs a double cab. We double cab country.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's got steelies on it. Doesn't matter if it's got plastic black bumpers or not even four-wheel drive or even a manual gearbox. If it's a double cab, we want it because you can put family in the back, you can put workers or employees at the back of the vehicle. Done deal.
Yeah. If you look at the current setup with top sellers, obviously Toyota Hilux is South Africa's top-selling bakkie. Ongoing basis, followed by a Ford Ranger, followed by a Isuzu D-Max. Those are the top three. It's been set for a very long time. Now, some might be surprised that the Mahindra pickup actually holds a very comfortable spot in number 4 there, some months even touching on almost 1,000 units.
Yes.
And then there's a bit of a let-off at this current stage. It's been ongoing for a while. The P-Series at one stage, the GWM, was up there somewhere when the new Navara came out. I think it went up to as high as maybe 700-800. That's tapered off a lot, and now the Amarok is justling in there. And this is now before the photon tunneling, all of these, the new P500.
JAC.
The T series on the T series on the X, well, the T series, the T9 and the T8.
All of those LDV, probably because of the pricing, isn't going to sell a lot.
No.
But they all probably like little piranhas will chow off a bit here, chow off a bit there. And for Navara to keep that heritage and keep that, can I say, what they've always stood for and their presence up before they launch the new one, it's going to be incredibly important for them. There's obviously areas they've identified as the workhorse, the sort of mid-spec leisure offering. They need to get their numbers higher to 1,000 so they have a base when that new one comes out.
It's that piranha. You got your top three feeding off 80%. It's all these little guys fighting for 20s. And if you're not offering value and you're not offering this and your range is not big enough, you're going to get eaten up.
I mean, if you look at how, sorry to interrupt, if you look at how much Nissan invested in Rosslyn when they revised the Navara, they did away with the 2.3 litre engine and they brought in the old 2.5 diesel, which is, I mean, my family, when I was growing up, we had a Nissan Pathfinder, which was basically the previous gen Navara in SUV form with that old YD25 engine. The amount of money they went through to not only produce it locally, but to bring that engine back and to export it. It wasn't for fun or it wasn't for a joke or whatever. There was a lot of money and so on that went invested into it. And they need to get back up because yes, the Navara is a old vehicle. It's been around it arrived in South Africa quite late. It's been around for probably more than a decade. So you cannot sit around and do nothing. And I think that's what they've now realized by doing this. It's going to be the opposition is getting closer, and Amarok we know is a premium vehicle. Now you're having a premium vehicle chow on a supposed mainstream vehicle's sales success. That's not right. So that's why the more derivatives you can add, the better. But there's something very big needs to happen for them to get back up where you said they need to belong.
Well, the bottom line is there's blood in the water. If it wasn't for this influx, they would be, I believe, sitting back and enjoying life and okay with a couple of 100 units maybe. But there's competition, and not everybody's going to make it out of this. I'm telling you now, not everybody's going to come out of this and at the end. I don't believe Nissan for a moment is going to ever just exit.
No.
But they're sure as hell, they're going to feel it if they, with their current numbers of 300-400, they'll feel it if they lose 100 or 200 to the Chinese.
Definitely.
Far less than Ford and Toyota will. So, yeah, it's time to wake up, shake up, and start bring. I would bring models, but I would do a Ford. I'd have a 2.3 Sport like they did theirs. I would have, honestly,
Special editions, bring it out.
I would have 25 derivatives. Put stickers on them.
I mean, we had that with Pro. We had Stealth. We had a bunch of the others as well. And that was MP200.
Oh, yeah.
And then previous gen was titanium as well. So, and we know South Africans love limited editions.
Put
we
stickers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll monitor the situation as it goes on. When we hear more about pricing of those two new models and obviously spec, we'll get right back to you. But for now, we're just going to wait. Same as you're going to wait for us to tell you. Thank you very much for listening to Pitstop this week. I'm Jaco van der Merwe. I was joined by Mark Jones and Charles Bosch. And if you like this podcast, you can go and like it, you can share it, or even better, follow our YouTube channel and catch us every week. Thank you for listening. Cheers.